Rowing is an incredible exercise to do, okay? When you think about it, you can sit on one of these machines and you can burn every single ounce of energy you have in your body and leave yourself lying on the floor. Or you can go for a long, slow row and burn off a whole load of calories and hopefully help with your weight loss goals if you're on a calorie controlled diet. And it's that we're going to do today. We're going to be rowing for half an hour at a nice gentle pace that will help you burn off some calories, and it'll give you a chance to work on your technique and all that kind of stuff as well. But importantly, it'll build your fitness and help you burn off some calories, okay? And we're going to have a little sting in the tail. We're going to give a little bit of fun as well, but it's going to be a 30-minute row at a nice 20 strokes a minute, which gives you lots of time to work on your technique, but also helps you to keep that effort in a kind of 5 out of 10 area. Now, if you have a 2K training pace, then you're going to do this at around about 18 seconds slower than your average 2K pace. If you need to know more about that, then please do check the description to this video where that's laid out a lot more clearly. Just pause the video, go read that, and you go, oh, all right, okay. So before we get into the main row today, however, we need to do a 4-minute warm-up just to make sure we're all kind of nicely kind of gliding and smooth and all that kind of stuff. So we have to set up our machine first. Now, if you're on a non-concept 2, please just set the resistance to a point where you get a nice weight from the stroke, but it's not too hard, too heavy. If you're on a concept 2, set your drag factor to where you want it to be, which should be round about what I've just described. Next up, go to your monitor. If you can set it at eye height, please do. And finally, if you can adjust your foot stretcher height, get it to a point when you can get to the front of the machine comfortably with your shins pointing vertically, okay? And hopefully without your heels coming too far off the foot plates at that point too. But I'll talk more about that during the main row. All right, so 4-minute warm-up. We're going to do this right about 18 to 20 strokes a minute. And I just want you to start thinking about power-wise as though you're just pushing off, as though standing up, okay? Not a whole load of power. I just want you to think about when you push with your feet and when your hands connect the handle to the machine. But I will explain as we start. Okay, here we go then. In 3, 2, 1, let's go. So, like I say, the power here should just be as though you're standing up. So you're not putting in a whole load of power, but you still need to put in a little bit of a push. And the point is that as you push your feet into the machine, that is when your hands connect the handle to whatever makes your machine go. If you push too soon, what happens is your backside escapes from you, whee, and you lose a whole bunch, whee, of leg or potential leg drive. And that's power that you're missing from your stroke. And that's not just about pace. We're not just talking about speed goals here. We're also talking about the amount that your body is used when you're rowing. Okay, because if you're trying to work and burn calories, it makes sense to use as many muscles as you can, efficiently of course. We're not going to waste energy, but you want to make sure that you are pushing with your legs and connecting that power so that your legs get a workout and not just your arms. After all, you may be thinking that rowing is all about pulling with your arms, and it's not. It's about pushing with your legs and then finishing with your arms. Right, 3 strokes to go, and then we're going to do single leg drills. So 1 more stroke, put 1 foot on the floor, continue rowing with the leg that is still strapped in. Now this can help with your flexibility, helps to get you in towards the front of the machine comfortably, can also expose if you have any tightness in your back, which I seem to have right now. This could be interesting. 1 more here. Let's see what it's like on the other side. Yeah. Swapped legs, and the tightness that I had in my lower back on the left hand side is pretty much gone, which makes me think I've got little bit of instability going on with my hips. Better work on that after this row. One more here. Both legs in, straight legs, and row with your back and arms. Let's see how my back feels here. Oh, it's still a bit stiff, to be honest. So you swing over your hips, then you pull in your arms, then you let your arms go out, and then you swing back over your hips again. And this mirrors, or is part of the stroke that you want to do, where you pick up the weight of the machine with your back first, and then pull in. Right, let's roll to the front of the machine, arms straight, forward tilt, and push out with your legs. Try to maintain this kind of forwards pointing position in this part of the drill. This is about teaching you to drive out from the front while leaning in with straight arms, which loads of people don't do. Let's do one more here. Right, so hopefully you're warm after that quick 4-minute warm-up. If you're not, please have a quick drink, but then do some light rowing while I quickly describe what it is we're doing again. Make sure you're warm. But like I said, today's isn't going to be too intense a workout anyway, so if you're not totally warm, don't worry, you can just glide into the main workout. But anyway, today's workout is going to be a 30-minute row at 20 strokes a minute, and your effort's going to be run about 5 out of 10, or for a 2k pace point of view, 2k plus 18 pace. Now, I'm going to add a little sting in the tail today, where after we've done our 30 minutes, we're going to rest for 1 minute, and then we're going to sprint for 30 seconds. So this is a 30 plus 30 session. But that 30-second sprint, really there's no training value to it at all. It'll be nice and fast, and it'll get the feeling of some pace under you after 30 seconds of this kind of low rate calorie burn row. It's just there just as a bit of fun, just to give you a reward for getting through those 30 minutes, okay? Obviously you'll get some kind of benefit from rowing fast, but there's not like it's designed to suddenly kind of optimize your whatever. Nah, it's just there for fun. So let's get into our 30-minute chunk first. Have a quick drink if you haven't already. I'm going to. And then we can get into our main session. So 30 minutes, 20 strokes per minute, 2k plus 18 pace, or 6 out of 10 from an effort point of view, okay? Here we go then, in 3, 2, 1, and we're off. Right. So, 20 strokes a minute. Try and find your pace within kind of 5 or 6 strokes if you can. Just because of my back, I'm going to be hovering a little bit as I start. It's one of the good reasons to do a warm-up, is to do a little bit of a body sit rep and see if there's any niggles or anything going on. Discover them before you get into the main session and make any potential injury worse. So I'm gonna kind of hover between 2k plus 18, which is 2:03 pace for me right now, and 2k plus 20, which would be 2:05, just to see what's going on, whether my back eases up, all that kind of stuff. But less about me, more about you. Why are you here today? Well, I'm hoping that you were just looking for a good, solid half-hour row. That's going to be for a few reasons why you might want this kind of row. Like I said in the intro, you'll get a good, in fact, let's start my watch. No, let's not start my watch. Hang on, man messes with watch. Hopefully it'll pick up that I'm rowing in a minute. We'll see how many calories I burn. I might put it on the thumbnail to this video. It's what makes rowing remarkable, is that you can row for half an hour and burn, I'm going to guess, about 350 calories. And from an intensity point of view, like I say, you're only rowing about 5 out of 10. There goes out my watch saying, yeah, I am rowing. Good. So it's not like you're having to overdo it on a spin bike in order to get your heart rate in the right place, or go through the strange movements on a cross trainer, or, let's face it, go through the potential knee injuries and things of going for a run. You're just moving back and forwards at comfortable pace, where your breathing should just elevate so that you're breathing faster. But if you were able to, and I wasn't talking the whole time, you should be able to hold a conversation with somebody. Certainly, for me, although I've kind of developed a bit of a knack for being able to talk while I row, at these rates and intensities, it shouldn't really be too hard for anyone, especially if it's a proper conversation with somebody and you get periods in the conversation where the other person's talking rather than it being a soliloquy like what I'm giving you. And so that's the level of intensity you should be working at. Your heart rate should spend most of this row around about 60-65% of your maximum heart rate, so you're not working too hard at all, but you are still putting in effort. Remember, when I say 5 out of 10 on an effort scale, that's looking at it that 1 out of 10 is like sitting on the couch watching television, hardly moving. 2 out of 10 is when you walk into the kitchen to refill your drink. 3 out of 10 is when you squat down and stand up a few times as you're hunting through the cupboards for that bar of chocolate you know has been hidden somewhere in the house. And then 4 out of 10 is like walking up a flight of stairs. Okay, so your muscles are needing to work just a little bit harder to climb up the stairs, but you're still not really working, so you wouldn't call it exercise. And it's 5 out of 10 where we are right now that your muscles are working hard enough that your breathing rate needs to increase to get that oxygen transfer into your blood. Get the oxygen in, carbon dioxide out. And your heart rate increases too. And you know, at this stage, you would call it exercise. And it's at this point that you do tend to hit the sweet spot of burning fat rather than your instant sugar stores in your blood and muscles. Or at least that's what they say for most people anyway. But also, regardless, if you keep the effort at this nice 5 out of 10, you can row for longer. And it doesn't matter where your body starts to burn its energy from. The longer you row, the more inclined it is to switch the burning from your fat stores. So it makes sense that if you can row at an intensity where you know you're exercising, but not so hard that you have to stop after 10 minutes, then just literally the process of rowing for another 20 minutes makes it a much better fat burning workout. And that's why, I mean, if you look at a lot of my recent videos, you'll see the stroke rates tend to often come back to this one, 20. It's because it's a great catalyst for this kind of calorie burning row, or as a kind of a launch pad for the faster stuff. So say you were doing 4 minutes at 20 strokes a minute, but then launched into 1 minute at 28. The foundation of this stroke rate is really valuable to prepare you for the faster stuff, and also to give you a longer session. Because if you were just to sprint at 28, you'd probably be done after about 7 minutes. Well, let's say 6 minutes for my maths to work. So you sit down, row fast at 28, say your energy's gone after 6 minutes. Whereas if you do 4 minutes at 20 strokes a minute and then 1 minute at 28, you can do that 6 times, giving you half an hour rowing time and letting you work on your fitness and your calorie burn in a way that that 6 minutes at 28 wouldn't allow. But also 20 is the perfect rate to work on your rhythm and the fluid stroke that you need in order to row efficiently and powerfully. And let's face it, as fast as you want to be. And that's because 20 strokes a minute could be broken down into 1 second drive and 2 seconds recovery. So you drive hard, recover slow. Drive fast, recover slow. And that's kind of the rhythm that you want through all of your stroke rates. And when I hear from people saying they struggle at 20, it's usually that rhythm. Talking of rhythm, Bon Jovi, have a good one with Living on a Prayer. And I mention that because we're halfway there. There's a bit of a segue link for you. But yeah, back to my rhythm thing. 20 is the one where you really can look at your counter and think about what's going on. So I'm counting each stroke down in 3-second chunks. So 6 here, then 3, now I cross, 14 minutes to go. And so, as long as I count in 3s, I just make sure that I drive and I see the second tick over as I get to the back of the stroke. And that way I know that that is a 1 second drive. And then I know I need to count 2 more seconds down on the recovery. So that can really unlock the rhythm for you in the first place. But then if it doesn't, you can start to look at why. And I see various things in videos I'm sent from people which feel free to send me a video of you rowing and I'll give you a free analysis over and over again until we get it right. But what I tend to see are either people who drive way too quickly, so they just scoot to the back, taking about half a second because they're not putting enough power into the stroke. They're just kind of limply moving backwards, and they're then faced with a 2.5 second really slow return that feels like it has very little rhythm or connection to the drive. Because remember, I'm in a 2-to-1 ratio here. It's like a tango. And 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So it still has rhythm to it. And for those people, it's usually because they're not getting the hang off the handle as they start the drive. And often that's because they're not pushing with their legs. Remember what I said in the warm-up? That rowing is a push with the legs and then a finish with the arms. So you push the legs into the machine with straight arms and a forwards tilt, and you hold those arms straight and your forwards tilt for as long as possible through the stroke. And the real important part there is as you push your legs into the machine, that surge of power as the flywheel accelerates and the air that it's taking in causes weight and resistance to the feel of the stroke. That's when it almost slows you into that surge of power. If you have a force curve on your monitor, switch it on, and you should see as you drive into the machine, that curve increases as you accelerate the power in to the stroke. And that acceleration, that surge, that almost slowing down as you push your legs against the weight of the machine. That's what allows your stroke to take a second rather than it being a very limp, loose pull on the handle with very little air being fought against by the fan. And even if you have your machine set to a low drag factor, you can still get that weight from the stroke as long as you push those legs in. And be sure you have your arms straight and a forwards tilt as you push. But then the other people are the ones that the drive seems to take 2 seconds, and then they have to quickly recover to the front over 1 second. And that is usually because they're getting the connection right, but they're not really pushing hard enough to accelerate the power into the machine. It's like a constant level fight against that resistance. And if the drag factor or resistance setting is set too high, then they don't have enough power with that light leg push to accelerate through the stroke, and so therefore it takes 2 seconds to get to the back instead of 1. And then they have to race as fast as they can towards the front of the machine again for the next stroke, which completely discombobulates their rhythm and their sensation on the rowing machine. So if that's you, first things first, check that you're not rowing on too high a drag factor or resistance. But then when it comes to the drive, make sure you're planting your feet into the foot plates and pushing that power in. If you think the warm-up, I was saying like you're just standing up from a squat. This should be almost like you're standing up but into a jump. You're springing up from the floor rather than stand. So push, push. There could be a few reasons why you're not getting it right. Again, you might not have straight arms and a forward tilt at the front, which lets that power surge through your body and into the machine. If you either pull too early, which saw my pace go right down, or if you swing your back too early, both of those completely lose the connection of your legs to your hands, and therefore you don't have that surge of power. But the other one is often because of foot strap height, or at least a heel raise. Now, you're allowed to lift your heels off the foot plates. If you watch me, you'll see mine come up. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it, despite what you might have read elsewhere. But that only stands if you get those heels down as you drive your legs into the machine. If you come forwards and you have a huge heel raise and then you are pushing, I'm not going to do it anymore, off your toes, again my pace just fell right off there, then you're not getting the full power out of your legs. It's almost like it's only your calves that are coming into play. And so again, that lack of power means you can't surge and accelerate into the machine in order to get that drive nice and controlled and 1 second long. Now, I know today's chat was a little less full technique focused, but I've had a flurry of emails and questions from people saying they can't row at low stroke rates. And each video I see is because of one of the issues I described today. So it was worthwhile doing a quite focused recap. Okay, 3 strokes. One more. Okay, so you've got 1 minute. Do whatever you need to do, have a drink. Keep moving up and down if you're worried about seizing. That was a half hour at the same rate. Make sure to just wiggle your backside a little bit on the seat. Take the pressure off that specific part of your muscle that the sit bones were pressing down on. And then remember, it's only 30 seconds that we've got, but I want you to go just as fast as you can, as high a rate, as much power as you can, okay? I'm not going to give you any guide, it's just go fast. 10 seconds to go. You ready for this? 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Big push to start, and then push those legs into the machine to generate power, and then as you finish with the handle, get it away from you and over your knees before they bend. Let your arms away be what triggers your return and allows a faster rate. And we're all done. Now I had to just ease off a bit there because although my back didn't really hurt through the 30 minutes, still something not right, so I didn't want to go that much higher than 32 strokes a minute, but hopefully you did well. Like I say, that 30 seconds isn't going to do anything about increasing your speed or your 100-meter time or whatever. It's just a little reward, a little bit of a spice at the end of the long 30-minute row. But that said, that actually flew by. I did a 30-minute row last night, just listening to a podcast, and it felt like it lasted for an hour. Whereas today's one, talking away to you, that flew by. And selfishly, that's one of the reasons why I make these videos. And hopefully that's one of the reasons you watch these videos. Hey man, it's symbioticness. Symbioticness? It's a word. Okay, 2-minute cooldown. I'm gonna do this round about the same pace we did the warm up at. Just put in enough of a push, they can feel your muscles and body activating through this. So here we go then, in 3, 2, 1, let's go. So, all I want to do is concentrate, especially because of my back, on coming forwards, making sure I'm in that forwards tilt, pushing with my legs, holding the tilt, let the power go through my body so I'm not bracing against, or at least I'm not fighting against it with my back. Your core needs to brace against it, but you're still not fighting it with your core. It's quite a nuanced feeling there. But arms straight, push, and then only when my legs start to fade do I swing my back from that 1 o'clock tilt to an 11 o'clock tilt, and then pull in my arms. When I get this sequencing wrong, that's when I feel a little kind of jolt, a little spark of pain in my lower back. Yep, it just happened then because I got it wrong, but that's better. It's all into posture at the back. If I do that thing where I slump at the finish, that slumping is definitely a trigger, whereas a nice, powerful posture, front and back, I don't feel it. And all this, just lighter rowing, should help your heart rate settle down. It may not be coming down any more than it was before, but it should have hit, I don't know, about 40-45% of max by now. And that's us done with the 2 minutes. So now you can let your heart, so it's dropped, then hit that level, and now it can go into resting from where it is now instead of going from the top in a straight line. Because that is a plummet, and we've described plummeting before. Now, if you have time, then please hang around for stretching guy. I'm gonna let him take it over again this time, because last time when I did a stretching on my own, 13 minutes it took for me to get through what he does in about 5, because I was too busy talking and I was forgetting to change the positions. So yeah, I'm trying to think what I can do to stretch my back while I talk to you though. Will I say goodbye? Can't think. What can I do? I'll just talk to you, I'll stretch afterwards. So, I hope you enjoyed this one. It's back to that. If you look through my channel, you'll see that 30 minutes, 20 strokes a minute, 2K plus 18 pace is probably the most common row that you'll see on here. The 20 strokes a minute and 18 strokes a minute, they're these kind of core fitness building, calorie burning. In fact, actually talking of calories, active calories 329. Total calories 390, but that's because I burnt just 60 calories being alive for the past, 35 minutes by the time you factor in the cool down as well. So 320, which I want to say is when I did the row off a cookie row, it was 320. So there we go. So that was like a cookie just all rowed off. And actually, if you're on a calorie controlled diet, you're trying to lose weight, don't eat the cookie to make up for the fact that you just take a look. If you're using like a tracker like MyFitnessPal or something like that, then you can factor in those 320 calories or whatever it was that you burnt as part of your calorie offset. Because remember, there's a sweet spot. You really only want to be, if you're wanting to gain, then you don't want to go that much past 400 calories on top of your base calorie expenditure for the day. And if you're losing weight, you don't really want to go more than 400 underneath either, because that's when you start to kind of scrape the energy barrel and stuff. So if that 320 calorie or whatever you did row takes you a little bit under your goal for the day, don't go, yes, I've maximized it. Have something to eat, make up a little bit of energy so that you can live to fight the next day. Because what happens is, and this is what's happened to me, Was it last year or the year before? I can't remember, was it the year before? I've completely lost track of years. It was the last time I did the Scottish Championships anyway, and it was right when lockdown had happened for COVID. And when lockdown happened for COVID, it's fair to say I took it quite badly, and I ate a lot of bad food, and I drank a lot of very tasty alcohol because mentally I just couldn't really adapt to it. So I let the reins go, and then I kind of thought after about 4 months of that, I kind of looked at myself in the mirror and went, oh, I actually looked at myself in one of these videos and went, oh my good grief, you got a bit chunky. So I went back to stop drinking again, which is a great, I'm much happier now that I'm not drinking again. But I really slashed calories. So I was kind of every day I was running about 900 calories under what I was burning. So I was set to burn like 2100 calories a day was my basic metabolic rate. So every day just being alive, I burned 2100 calories a day. And so I was set to be at 1700 calories, and that was my 400 calorie drop in order to kind of lose weight in a safe manner. But between not eating that much and rowing at the same time, I was like 900 calories under. And although it got to the Scottish Championships and I'd managed to just make weight for them, with all the training and stuff I've been doing and all that kind of calorie burn, I was absolutely exhausted. And actually it was like a perfect storm. It was the day of the Scottish Championships. I just completely burnt out. And even though the week before or 2 weeks before I did a test and it was like, hey, I'm gonna do quite well. But the effort it took to lose weight and just calorie drop, I was just done for when it came to the race. So this time round, I'm being a lot more careful. And so this is why I'm ranting to you about it and saying that if you are on a calorie controlled diet and you're using exercise to kind of give yourself a little bit more of a buffer so you can eat a little bit more and that kind of stuff, then make sure to make up the calories you're burning so you're still within the boundaries, so you're giving yourself the energy to be able to continue. You'll know yourself, you know the tolerances. I know I can handle running about 400 calorie deficit, and I don't really, especially when they're not included in alcohol and it's actual food. I know I'm fine, but you might not be. You might be completely different. So anyway, right, that was a little bit of a rant. Didn't expect to go anywhere near that today, covering those topics, but I did. So hopefully he is still stretching away and coming towards an end just as I say goodbye to you. So thank you so much for doing this row. I do hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the little 30-second coda right on the end, just as a little bit of fun. Yeah, and as always, if you want to send a video of you rowing for me to have a look at, please do. If you have any suggestions for any kind of rows you'd like to see me do, especially while I'm still doing these standalone rows, then please do. If you have any advice on how to sort out my dodgy back, please do. Although I've been watching Jeff Cavalier on the Athlean X, his channel, and all the stuff I watch on his, it always sorts me out, so I'll carry on doing that. So, right, thank you so much for coming along and doing this one. Please make sure and check out the myriad videos I have up here. There are all these free workouts for you, or app reviews, or whatever other kind of little videos that I make. Please take a look at some of the other ones. It goes back, 4 or 5 years almost, that I've been making these workout videos for. And so there's lots of different options even. Yeah, there's not even an even, there just are lots and lots of options. So hopefully I will see you in one of those videos, or I will see you in the next one. Regardless, please look after yourselves. Be well. Bye-bye.